Day two of the Pack Your Class Challenge. Hi everyone, welcome to the stage. My name is Jessica. I help your fitness instructors just like you make money online without teaching for classes, without burning out, so that you can pay the bills. And one of the ways that we do that and that I help you do that is by growing the classes that you do have. So if you're just joining us, welcome. You're joining us in the Pack Your Class Challenge, and this is day 2. So yesterday was day 1, actually since Sunday, right? Since Sunday, we introduced ourselves. So I shared a little bit about me. You have been posting and sharing about you. I have been loving the post, by the way. Oh yeah, drop some emojis, give me some hearts. Like, let me know if you can see this, if you can hear this, where you're watching this from. If you're doing this live, like give me some dancing stuff. If you're watching this on the replay, say replay or tell me where you're watching this from. Like, I want to know. So on Sunday, we had a little bit of an intro. I told you a little bit about my story. You have been posting about your stories. It's been beautiful and wonderful. Yesterday was day 1 of the Pack Your Class Challenge, and it was all about getting new people, right? And today we're going to talk about how to get your people to come back. So yes, say yes in the comments if you want to keep on going. So if you're a fitness instructor and you teach at a gym, or you rent space, or you own your own studio, or you do virtual classes and you want to grow your classes, this challenge is for you. Stick around. If you're a personal trainer and you're wanting to get more clients, this also applies to you. Just every time I say students, change it for clients. It's the same thing. Same thing if you are a wellness, nutrition, or any type of coach and you want to get more clients, this applies to you, because what we're learning through these 3 days is all about marketing. So this applies to all of you. Now, if you want to grow, say yes, by the way, if any of those is you. If it's not you, like, let me know what your situation is. If you are wanting to grow your classes, right, to pack your classes, maybe to have like extra cash, that would be nice, right? Maybe you have a bill here or there that you would like to help pay. Awesome. Or maybe you just want to help more people, right? The more, the merrier. So you want pack classes because it just feels good to help more people. Or if you need pack classes so that they don't cut you from the schedule, right? If you're teaching at a gym, some gyms have a quota, and if you don't fill that quota, they'll cut your schedule, they'll cut your class. You're like, I don't want that to happen. So if that's you, say me. Or if you're renting space, you're teaching virtual classes, or you own your own studio, and you're currently losing money every time you teach because you don't have enough people in your class, right? So if any of these sound like you, say yes down in the comments, because I want to help you. We're going to do that today and tomorrow. Actually, yesterday, today, tomorrow. It's a whole week of just growing your classes. So let's do a quick recap of what happened yesterday. Now, these are very long trainings. I used to do small little, 10-minute, 20-minute something. This ain't that, okay? I'm spilling the beans. I'm giving you all the secrets, as much as I can pack into this live, so that you have as much information. You dip your toes on all of these things, right? You start to unveil. My goal here is to wake you up, really, right? Because most fitness instructors is like, okay, I made a post or I teach a good class. Why isn't my class growing? And it's because that's not enough. It used to be enough back in the 90s, not anymore, right? So I want you to know that growing your classes is possible, totally possible. However, you do need to wake up. You need to add some skills, right? This is not just a post that went viral. This is not a post that people have, or somebody who's extroverted, or somebody who's good at social media. No, all of these things are skills, and they are learnable. I promise you, I am not very outgoing, okay? I am actually an introvert. Peopling is hard. When I started this, I had 8 followers on Facebook. I knew nothing about marketing. I did not have a social media thing. Peopling is hard, okay? I am not the funnest one at a party, okay? Not the funnest one. And I was able to learn all of these things. My classes grew from 5 to 55. I'll tell you more about that in a second. So what I want this to be for you is to understand that this is a skill. It is learnable, and you will grow your classes as long as you know what to do, which is what we're kind of doing, right? I'm dipping your toes in all of this, and you do it consistently. So you practice, right? Do you get better or worse with practice? You get better, right? So if you get better at promoting, if you get better at making money, you're going to improve. So the problem is most fitness instructors are practicing the wrong things, which is why they're frustrated, right? You're not seeing results. So what we did yesterday, oh yeah, by the way, tell me what formats you're teaching. I want to know what formats, and I know all of you kind of told me in your beautiful stories, but I want to know here. Also, because I want to prompt you, and I'm going to give you lots of prompts so that you like, you comment, because every like is a point, right? For our wonderful prizes, we have prizes. So there's going to be a $50 gift card, and there's also going to be a $25 gift card for the 2 instructors who engage the most. So that means that every time that you like, that's a point. If you like right now this comment, that's a point. If you comment, that's a point. If you post, that's a point. If you like somebody else's post, that's a point. If you like somebody else's comment, that's a point. If you comment on the comment and then like the first comment, all of those are points, okay? So I want you engaging. I also really love reading through all of your things. So I do sit down at the end of these things and just go through all of the 500 million comments because I love hanging out with fitness instructors. I'm a fitness instructor. I teach 2 classes. I wasn't growing my classes. I wasn't making enough money. I know what it is. So you guys have like a big, I just have a soft spot for all of you. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what happened yesterday. Pen and paper for today, pen and paper for yesterday. If you weren't here, the replay is out there. Let me know if you need access to the replay, but if you gave me your email, you probably already got it in your email this morning. So yesterday, we talked about why growing your classes is very different now than it was 10 years ago. And it's harder now than it was 10 years ago because there's way more competition, right? There's way more formats. It used to be 50 formats, now there's like 300. There's more fitness instructors. Now there's like a 60% increase on group fitness instructors. There's more gyms and more boutique studios, and there's a whole online space. So there's more competition. That means that the things that used to be working, like word of mouth and flyers and teaching a good class, all of those things are not working anymore. Okay? Maybe they're enough to have like the minimum required of the students, but it's not going to be enough to grow your classes. So what we need to do as fitness instructors, right, is evolve. Say evolve in the comments. We need to level up. Say level up in the comments. Okay, before we didn't have to learn about marketing. We didn't have to learn about promoting because it wasn't necessary. But nowadays, if you're not promoting, you're not growing. Say that in the comments. If you're not promoting, you're not growing. Okay, just doing a good class and hoping word of mouth, doing word of mouth and hoping somebody will see your post will not cut it in 2025. So we talked way more about that. We also talked about the best place to promote is on Facebook. And we talked about the 2.9 billion people, the demographics, all of that. And we talked about how to stand out online, right? And within this big, huge space, that's such a great thing. You're going to get much more reach than you do in flyers, right? However, how do you stand out in the sea of people? So we did talk about standing out. A couple of recap is not be hiding, right? Don't be hiding in spots where people can't see you, like posting on your business page. Also not being a spammy Sammy, right? And not being overly overt or like too loud with your format. That actually scares people away. So a way for you to stand out online is to keep it simple, to stay branded, to post on your profile, and to make your profile open to the public so people can see you and access you, right? So we also talked about the 3 steps to pack your class. And if you're wanting to pack your class with new people, specifically new people, we talked about who these people are, what makes them new, and then who are we trying to attract. Stay away from saying, I want to attract everyone, or I want anyone to go to my class. Everyone is invited to your class, but we can't promote to everyone, or we can't market to everyone. When you're trying to market to everyone and reach everyone, you reach no one, okay? So we talked a lot about that and kind of some examples of how that would work for a yoga class, a Zumba class, a Pilates class. So go check that out. And we talked about those 3 steps, right? So it's not just make a post and get a student. Yeah, you probably tried that. Doesn't work, right? It's a process. Promoting is a process. Say process in the comments. So that means they need to go through these 3-step things, right? You need to create a post, a piece of content that gets attention, right? We talked about reels and views, and if you're getting views and 1,000 views, that's great. That's the job of the post. The job of the post is not to get a student, it's not to get a registration, it's just to get attention, right? Step 2 is to convert that attention into interest. From all the people who got, who got your attention, whose attention you had, well, who's actually interested in that yoga class or strength class or pound class or clubber size class, right? And we created that call to action within the post so that you know how to do that and how the people can self-identify. And then once you have interested people, how do you convert that interest into a registration? And that's where most instructors totally miss the ball, because it requires you to jump into personal messages and now get to know the person behind the screen, right? You get to know what are their goals, what are their struggles, what do they want, right? What questions do they have so that they make it to your class? Yes or yes? Now, that was like a 90-minute training, so I just did in like 2 minutes. A recap of a 90-minute training. So definitely go check that out if you haven't yet. Pen and paper, it's a long one, so you might want to do it in batches. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the fastest way to grow your class, right? So we talked about yesterday about just getting new people, how do they get attention, how can they see you, how can you expand into that, and then how to get them to you, how to get them interested or registered to your class. But we haven't talked about actually getting them to show up. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, the fastest way to grow your classes is actually not going to be to get new people. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how to get your previous students to come back. So if you've ever had students who like maybe came to class, loved it, had a great job, smiling faces, sweaty faces, and then you never heard from them, and you're like, but they had fun. Where are they? What happened to them? And they're MIA, right? They're missing in action. And you're like, was it me? Did I do something wrong? Like, what happened? So we're going to talk about how to reach them again and revive them so that you can build your classes. And then we're going to talk, once you have these new people that, we did all that work yesterday. Once you have people interested in the messages or saying, yes, I want to go to your class, and they're saying yes, how to get them to actually show up to their first class and how to get them to come back to the next class. Yes or yes? So tell me in the comments which topic of these is the one that you're like most interested in. For many instructors, we have different strengths and weaknesses. I noticed that some instructors are really good at the whole promoting and getting new people in the door, but they're not really good at the retention, right? They come in, they do 1 or 2 classes, and then we never see them again. So then that instructor is constantly trying to get new people, which is exhausting, right? Other instructors are the opposite, right? They struggle to get new people in, don't understand marketing, don't understand how to talk about their classes in a way that makes sense to new people, but once people join their classes, they're there for life. Like they're your divas, your core crew, like they'll stick with you for forever. So let me know which one do you, and we're always can improve a little bit of both. But let me know, like for you, which one do you feel is your strongest and which one do you feel is your weakest, right? Are you stronger bringing people in, not so much at retention, or are you stronger at retention, not so much at, bringing new people in? So just a quick recap. So the things that you are learning today and that you're learning yesterday, that you learned yesterday and that you will be learning tomorrow are all things that are very learnable. I didn't know any of this. However, once I started implementing these behind the scenes, okay, you'll notice that a lot of this stuff, it's like a post, and then the post has to be very specific, but there's a lot of work that happens before you do the post, and there's a lot of work that happens after you do the post. And all of this happens behind the scenes and nobody sees it. So then you're like, why isn't it working? Because you have no idea that you were supposed to be doing these behind the scenes things, because they're supposed to be behind the scenes. They're not supposed to see it, okay? It's kind of like when you're teaching class, right? And for that 1 hour, you practiced maybe 5 hours. It took you 2 hours to figure out the playlist and to pick a song. You made mistakes. You were dancing in the kitchen as you were learning these routines, right? Your students are not meant to see that. Right? That's you practicing. That took time. Your students are meant to see the performance, the fun class that's easy to follow. So social media is very much like that. Growing your classes is very much like that. There's parts of it where it's like a performance, right? Like a post. People are meant to see it. It's meant to seem effortless. It is not. There's a lot of elements that need to happen before, during, and after for that to work. However, it's all very learnable. As long as you have a passion for helping your people, to growing your classes, to wanting to get more people into your classes, you can learn this. When I learned this, my classes went from 4 to 55, not just one class, all of my classes, okay? And I didn't change anything about my classes. The same went for Autumn. Autumn was teaching in a military location, very secluded, in-person strength training class. And she was having, I think she was struggling to get 10 people in the room. She's like, sometimes I have 10. On a good day, I have 10. She quadrupled her class. So she went from 10 to 40, right? By the time she was 40, they had to break that class apart into 2 classes because they literally, for safety reasons, could not fit in a room. That's how big it got, okay? She didn't change anything about her class. It's the same class, same playlist, same, schedule. She didn't change anything about the class. Same goes for Jackie. Jackie was doing Zumba, virtual Zumba classes, and she had her core crew of the people who stuck with her, and she had a couple of people there, but she didn't have any new people because she didn't know how to promote, right? If you don't promote, you don't grow. She wasn't promoting, so she wasn't growing. Sometimes what happens too is that you are promoting, but you're promoting wrong. This is very, very common. Side note, so there's really 3 buckets when it comes to promoting. Either you're not promoting, in which case just promote whatever, even if it's not the best thing, just get started. For most instructors, you are doing some type of promoting. Yay, hashtag small win, but you're doing it wrong, right? And this is where I was stuck for a long time because I was like, I'm posting, I'm doing my schedule, I put my face. Yeah, but I was doing it in all the wrong ways. So then I was doing it, but I was doing it wrong. And for some of you, you're doing good promoting, right? It's generating interest, attention, engagement, interest, all that jazz, but it's too little, right? So we need to expand and you just need volume. So anyway, Jackie was promoting, didn't know how to promote. All we did was change how she promoted, right? We taught her how to create attention, and then when she has that attention, what to do with it, which is what we're going to talk about today, right? Once you have those new people, once you have students, how do you get them to come back? And Karen was able to go from 4 people to 50 in 30 days in a brand new city, right? So a lot of us instructors, we move from one city to another, from one country to another. We have to start over as fitness instructors. How many times have you had to start over? Either start over with a new class or a new gym or a new location or a new format or a new schedule or a new city or a new country or a new target audience, right? Fitness instructors, we have to start over many, many times, right? And, but when you know what to do and when you know how to grow a class, right, you can do that very, very quickly. So that's how Karen was able to pack her classes. So all of these ladies and dozens of ladies more that I've had helped, they all did it without changing their playlist, without changing their classes, without changing the intensity of their classes. It's not more intense or less intense. Without changing the format of their classes, the schedule, they're still teaching on Mondays or Tuesdays or at 5, like it's the same schedule. They didn't change location, like they didn't change anything about the class. The only thing that they changed was how they promoted the class and how they nurtured their audience, right? The systems that they had behind the scenes from the people that were generating that promotion, which is what we're going to learn today. Okay, so when you're getting new people, you're getting names. When you're teaching classes, you're teaching students. But then what most of us do is just like, okay, I made a post, I got likes, yay! And then we don't do anything with it. No, we need to the whole point of posting is to generate names. And then we teach a class, we have students, we're like, great, it was a great class. No, we need to create a list and check in with your people. So it's not just about posting or just about teaching class. There's a lot more that needs to happen behind the scenes. So I do need you to repeat after me. There's no unicorn post. Okay, I get this a lot from instructors. They're like, what can I post to just get more people in my classes? And I can show you what to post, but there's no such post. So you're going to get 100 people engaging, and then they're all going to register to your class. That just doesn't exist. Does it happen? Maybe, sometimes. My eye is twitching. Can you see it? I had like 2 hours of sleep last night, so my eye is twitching. So there's no unicorn pose. There's no hack. There's no secret sauce. There's no shortcut, okay? All of this is work. Just the same way that, well, how do you become a fitness instructor in 1 hour? You don't. You have to go take a training. Some instructors, some formats are 8 hours training. Some formats are a 3-day training. Some formats require you to do 300 hours of like yoga, right? You don't become an instructor in an hour. You just don't, right? So same thing with promoting and growing your classes. It's not an event. It's going to be a process. So that means that there are going to be some things that require you to do a one-time thing, like changing your name, your settings, things like that. And you're dipping your toes right now on all of these things. Some of these things need to happen every single week, like posting, right? Or like growing your audience. And some things are going to be an everyday type thing. Okay, so who's ready to learn what's the fastest way to grow your class? Now, what happens with fitness instructors is that we instantly want to grow our classes with new people, right? And that's why we go to reels and social media and flyers and things like, who's like, I need to grow my classes. I need new people. Who has that like instinct? There we go. That was my first like impression. I was like, oh, I don't have people. I need to go. I can know people. Actually, new people are the hardest people to get. Okay. That's why I spent 90 minutes yesterday. And those 90 minutes are not even close to everything that you need to do. Like I just told you a little bit of what to do, not how to do it, or I'm not checking you, making sure that you're doing it right so that you're not practicing the wrong things, right? Which is what we do with the Fitness Boss Mentoring Program. Oh yeah, prizes. I didn't say prizes, right? So prizes, there's going to be a $50 gift card and a $25 gift card to everyone, to the 2 instructors who engage the most. And there's also going to be a 50% scholarship, 50% scholarships to the Fitness Boss Mentoring Program. That program is designed for fitness instructors, seasoned fitness instructors, to make your first $10,000 online. So if you're teaching classes and you're burnt out, this is a way for you to make $10,000 without teaching more classes, which is a huge game changer. So I'm giving out 3 scholarships, which is a big deal. Okay, so fastest way to grow your classes is not by getting new people. You need to get new people. You need that skill. We talked extensively about that yesterday, but it's not the quickest way. So back when I was obsessed with growing my classes and I interviewed everyone, right? I was not new at teaching. And by then, I've been teaching for 20 years. 10 of those years was like ballet, jazz, dance, all of those. 10 of those years have been fitness. All 20 of the years have been about dance though. So when I got into fitness, I had no idea. I knew how to teach a class. I come from a dance ballet background. So teaching came natural to me. Promoting did not. And I also didn't know I had to promote. I was like, I'm teaching my class. It's a good class. Everybody told me, oh, just be you. Word of mouth will spread. Friends will tell a friend. Anybody else get that advice? It's good advice. However, it was good advice in the 90s or 10 years ago, 10, 20 years ago. Not right now. To do that, that's required to just teach a good class. That's just like the minimum requirement now. So anyway, I wasn't growing my classes. I didn't know how. I didn't know that I needed to. So I started asking everyone, right? I started asking instructors who had more, who had been teaching more than I was, because I wasn't new at teaching, but I was new at group fitness and the whole growing classes concept and the whole attendance concept. All that was new. So I started reaching out to instructors who had been doing this for 10, 20 years. I started reaching out to instructors that were doing this in my format, in other formats, and I started reaching out to instructors from all over the world. When I say I was obsessed, I mean I was obsessed. Not only that, but I started taking a whole bunch of trainings. So some of the trainings were free, kind of like what you're doing right now with the Packet Class Challenge, right? This is a free, very in-depth training, but there's also lots of other trainings that were not free. So I started taking branding trainings, networking trainings, social selling trainings, network marketing trainings. What else? I hired a coach. I got an audit on all my social media. Like I started just really absorbing how do you do marketing. And in all of these trainings, whether they were free or not free, I was the only fitness instructor in these trainings. Okay, there were lots of network marketers, lots of people selling products. Anyone in fitness was usually a personal trainer. So I had to take all of this knowledge and kind of translate it into how do I grow my classes? How does this help me grow my classes, right? So yeah, I had to translate all of it because I was the only one oddball there trying to learn these things specifically to grow your classes, which is why I am now teaching them to you and to everybody else so that you can grow your classes. So as I was interviewing everyone, I noticed that there were certain trends. And the instructors who had the packed classes, they all had patterns, right? And that's what I noticed first because these instructors didn't know each other. Some of them were in different cities, different countries, different formats. However, as I started asking, well, how do you grow your classes? Well, if you can give me, 3 pieces of advice, your 20 years of experience, what would you say to somebody new who wants to grow their classes? And I started interviewing and doing extensive market research. And I noticed that a couple of things about the fitness bosses, the ones who had the packed classes, which were the classes that I wanted, right? Number one was that they were promoting, okay? Not only were they promoting, but they were good at promoting. And a lot of them did, confesar? I forgot the word in English. Confessed, there we go. A lot of them did confess that they didn't start out knowing how to promote. So this was like a learned skill. Now, this is from the instructors who had been teaching, I think, like 15, 20, and 30 years, okay? So those were the ones who were now really good at promoting, but they did tell me that at the beginning, they were not good at promoting. So FYI, we all start knowing nothing, okay? It's okay. However, they leveled up, right? They not only mastered their formats and inside the classroom, but they mastered the skills required outside the classroom to fill the classroom with students, okay? So they were actually promoting and they were good at it. They were not improvising their promos. They were not playing it by ear. They were not, posting or promoting whenever they feel like it. They were not hoping new people will come and they were not hoping people would show up. When I would talk to these instructors, they would tell me what the marketing plan is. And they're like, this is what I do on Mondays. This is what I do at the beginning of the month. This is the event that I have at the end of the month. This is what I do, to make sure that people show up to they had a system, okay, to do that. So they were promoting and they were good at it. So that's the first thing that I noticed. So do we need new people? Yes. Do you need to learn how to get new people? Yes. So master your marketing. It is a skill. It's not luck. Okay. People don't get lucky and go viral. No, they learned it. Right? It's a learned skill. So what they were doing was daily and weekly repeatable actions, right? The same way that when you teach a class, you always do a warm up and then you have the rest of the class and then you do a cool down, right? So it follows a pattern. They had that for their marketing and for their promoting. So what happens when you don't have that is that if you're good at getting new people, but they don't stick, right? Then you're constantly in this, I need new people, and new people are the hardest ones to get and the ones that take the most time to warm up to go to our classes. So that's why you're feeling exhausted, okay? Because it's very time consuming and it's very energy consuming. However, if you are good at getting some new people to join your class and you're really good at retaining them is easier, okay? It requires less of it requires less energy. Then you start building your class. And this is what I noticed about them, right? Especially the ones who had been teaching for 15 or more years, right? Yes, they had a couple of new people and they were always welcome, but they had established a foundation of their core crew. Right? They're people, they're regulars. And even if their regulars were sick or out of town, that not everybody goes to your class. Not everyone, all of your students go to all of your classes all the time, right? They had such a big foundation of returning students that it wasn't exhausting, right? So it's kind of like building a house. So they have one brick, which is one of the students, and then somebody new comes in, so it's a new brick. And then they like this class and then they stick to this class and they stick with that instructor for a year. So that's another brick. And they start building their classes, right? By having a combination of new people come in and then keeping them and then building forward, right? Does that make sense? Yes? Yes or no? Rather than, teaching a good class, yay, you always you always give a good class, but focusing only on getting new people. So I noticed that they were promoting, they were good at it, and to get people to come back, right? That's really what their focus was, is to get people to come back, because it takes a lot of energy to get new people in. So once they're in, you want to keep them, okay? Because that was a lot of energy and a lot of time. So then how do we keep them? And what I noticed with them is that they had two things, okay? One, write this one down. Don't repeat it, write it down, okay? Is they had a contact list. They had a list, okay? And number two, they work the list. Very important. So in the Fitness Boss Mentoring Program, I start everyone with what I call the hot list, right? And we're going to talk more about the hot list. But the hot list, this is what's going to grow your classes, and the hot list is what's going to grow your income as well. So for the instructors doing the Fitness Boss program, right, they're learning how to make money online through programs. And this is something that I repeat to them constantly. The money is in the list, okay? So you need to have a list, and then you need to work the list. And we need to work that list on a monthly basis if you want to grow your classes. Do you want to grow your classes once or every month? Do you want to make money once online or every month? We want to do it every month, right? So we want to do that consistently. So the instructors that had packed classes, right, and we're retaining, there's new students and we're retaining, they had a list. Now this one seems kind of obvious in retrospect, and it feels a little bit like that, but just because it's obvious doesn't mean that people have it or that people do it. Kind of like when you're teaching a class and they say, smile when you teach. I don't know, I had lots of dance instructors, right? And smiling when you teach was something that you hear, well, I heard all the time, right? It's like, make sure you smile, and when you're teaching, and when you're dancing, and when you're performing, smile when you dance, and smile when you dance. And it seems so obvious, but the truth is that when you're dancing, teaching, or performing, you're concentrated. So you're like anticipating the next move, and you're pre-cueing, and you're cueing, and you're looking at everybody's eyes. You're processing, so you might forget to smile, right? I have now trained my face to not only smile when I teach, but to smile when I do videos, okay? And it seems logical, okay? It seems like duh, but it's still hard to do, right? Having a list is kind of like that. So when I started noticing that this instructor in Australia who has packed classes, has 80 people in their class, she tells me about her list. And this other instructor in the UK who has 50 people in her classes tells me that she goes through her list on a monthly basis. And then I look at this instructor in the US, right, who has 5 full-on, waitlisted classes. So she has different lists for her classes, and she goes through through her list on a weekly basis. They all are using lists. And here I am. Now, I teach at a gym, and I will say instructors who teach at a gym are particularly bad at this skill, me included. So say gym if you're teaching at a gym. This one's going to be a little bit hard because we're not really required to, you don't have to really reach out. If you're doing virtuals, you own a studio, or you're renting space, you'd have some kind of list because people pay you, right? You need to get them into your system, and there's a little bit more of like that list culture. But for gym instructors, we're like, what? Okay, so definitely they need to have a list. So this is what happens with your students, okay? If you were able to get somebody new, right? If you stood out online, you're promoting, you stood out online in a place where people can see you, like your profile in your Facebook group, right? You created a piece of content that created attention, yay. In that piece of content, you added a CTA to convert that attention into interest. Yay, people who are interested, you reached out in PM to make sure that you become, you get personal so that you can enroll them and convert them into your students. Yay, all of that is the hardest part, okay? So if you did all that successfully, and not every student is gonna go through that, some will fall through the lines, that is normal. But if you went through, all of that successfully, #small-win, they're still not in your class. You still need to get them to class, right? They said yes, but they're still not in the class. So it's not done yet, okay? So what happens is that they say yes to you in the message. Maybe they even paid you or registered or gave you their email for the free thing. They said yes, but then life gets busy. right? And things, started to move, or they just literally forgot they were going to do that on Monday, and then it's Tuesday, darn it, and they forgot, or they back out, right? They got really excited with your post and your conversation. You made them feel really secure and confident. They were all fired up, and then 2 days passed, and now they're getting a little bit nervous, and I don't know if I can do that, right? And stuff starts to happen, or they start thinking, you know what? I do want to do that class, but later. Anybody get the laters? Okay. Or they said yes to, and then they never show up, right? So what happens is life gets in the way in between when they said yes and registered for your thing, or you gave them your email, and when they're supposed to show up for their very first class. Okay. So we need to remind them to show up so that they do show up and they stick to their word, right? We're here to help them become healthy, and they need reminders to show up to their very first class. Okay. So people need reminders. Life is busy. Life is hectic. Life is happening all over the place. You are not their number one priority, right? And you have more of an interest of them showing up to your class than they have of trying this class and see what it is. So it's up to you to create those reminders, right? And to create a system to create those reminders. So you can set reminders through message, through text, through email, through posting. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Another thing that happened, so we need to get them to class. Now the goal here is to get them to do their first class. The goal is not to get them to pay you. Very important. This is some instructors, if you have a free class, that is, I believe, that the best route, but you can do whatever you want. Some instructors don't like to give out free classes. I believe that you want to make it as easy as possible for people to join your first class. Okay. Not all classes, but the first one, yes, just so that all I have to do is spend time with you, right? You're not even asking for their money. So the goal is to make it easy for them to join their first class. And so you want to make it easy, you want to make it free, you want to give them reminders and encourage them. And then after they show up, we'll talk more about this. Then the goal becomes how to get them to come back, right? How to get them to get to their next class. So as all that applies to somebody new. And as I said before, that's a lot of work, okay? So the truth is that they're new because they're classified as, they're called cold audience. So your audience, this is where you learn behind the scenes stuff that are marketing concepts, that is not for luck and luck. This is legit stuff. So this is where you learn that this is not just, oh, she made a good post. Great. No. So your audience is categorized by temperature. The closer your audience is to you, the more they know you, like you, trust you, or have bought from you, the hotter they are. The farther away from you, the colder they are. So new audiences are people who don't know you, right? So then they don't like you because they've never met you. And obviously they don't trust you because they've never met you, right? So they're the farthest one away from you. And then we have your hot audience, which is people who already know who you are, who like you, like spending time, or like spending time in your socials, trust you, so they come to you for advice, and probably even already bought from you. So for example, all of your students, even if they just came for one class, all of your students, they know you, they like you, they trust you, and they bought from you. They tried a class, right? Same goes for any of your clients if you're personal training or a coach, right? And then there's your warm audience, which is everybody kind of in between. So the cold audience, which is way over here, who don't even know that you exist, they don't know about the lady in the hat, right? They first need to just get to know you. This is why we get attention. They just need to be aware that there's a lady with a hat somewhere in the internet that helps instructors grow classes. They don't know that. I have to create content to just get seen, okay? And then once I get attention, they need to decide whether they vibe with me, right? And your people need to decide whether they vibe with you. I don't know, this girl with the hat, I don't know, she's a little bit too much. I don't know, she's too weird. I don't know. It feels spammy. Right? And some people will like, what they see, and some people won't. And I'm fine with that. And it's okay. Facebook is big, 2.9 billion accounts, okay? Somebody's gonna like you. So once they know you, right, and they know that you exist, then they decide whether they like you or not. And this is why we send friend requests and we do comments, and we're trying to let them know a little bit more about us so that they can make a decision. We're not going to push them into a decision. They get to see this, and this is why your profile and posting your profile is so important, because your profile does that for you so that you don't have to work that hard, right? Once that they decide that they do like you, like, oh yeah, she has a cat and it's cute and she's always wearing a hat, I kind of like it, right? Then they're going to decide whether they trust you, right? So now which is kind of like where you're at right now. So you're actually not my cold audience. Some of you are my warm audience. So you're deciding whether you want to listen to what I say, whether you want to try out some of these tips, whether I'm legit, whether I know what it is that I'm talking about, right? You're skeptic, and that's okay. Your people are skeptic too. They just met somebody, a stranger in the internet, talking about fitness, talking about yoga or exercise. They're allowed to be skeptic. It's up to you to prove them wrong, right? It's up to you to prove that you do care about them and that you do know right? You do know what you're talking about and that you do care, right? So cold audience are the farthest apart, and as they start making these decisions, they become warmer, 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 until they become a student, and now they're hot audience, right? Or in the hot zone. So if you want to grow your classes fast, should you start with the people who are closest to you, who already know that you exist, who already decided that they do like you, that's why they hang around, or you're in their Facebook group or whatever, taking their free challenges, right? And who are, trusting you or trying to trust you? Or should you start with the people who are way over there, who don't even know that you exist, right? Fastest way to grow your class is going to be with the people who already know you. So we're going to start by doing that with your current students. Reaching out, not current students, past students, reaching out to your past students is going to be the quickest way to get 3 students in the door next week. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that today, okay? But you're not going to get 3 students in the door who just met you yesterday through your reel, right? They're not going to go into your class next week. They're going to need longer time to do that. In fact, your cold audience needs longer time to warm up. They need about 13 interactions to start to warm up to you. 13, that means they need to see a reel, then you need to like on something, then they need to comment, then you need to send them an email, then you need to send them a PM, then they need to see another post, then they need to see your story, then probably, another comment, 13 of those things to just start to feel comfortable with you before they actually purchase. Regardless of what the purchase is, whether the purchase is a free class, a $10 drop-in, or a $200, $30 30-day program, regardless of what the price is, they need at least 13 touches of you so that they can get closer. But someone who's in your hot audience, right, one of your past students that maybe, hasn't gone to class in the last 2 months because we don't know why, they don't need that. They don't need so much. They just need 3 interactions. And we can do all 3 in a message. Hey, how you been? Oh my gosh, I miss you. How's life? Wanna come to class? Boo. Yes, I want to. No, I can't. Oh, I actually moved. I can't go, right? It takes 3 interactions for them to decide whether to repurchase or not. Because they already know you, they already like you, they already trust you, they already came to your class, they know what you're about. It's probably something they're probably not coming to class for something unrelated to you, like life or work or having a baby or getting sick or moving or buying a new house or having an injury, or having people in town, or being out of town, things like that, and then they just kind of forgot and fell off the wagon, right? So that's why to grow your classes the fastest, we want to start with these people. It just takes 3 interactions. Not only that, but people who have bought from you are likelier to buy from you again, to the tone of 70%. So people who bought from you, or students who came to your class, are 70% more likely to come back to that class, if you remind them, right, to do that again, because they already did that first class. Clients who bought from you, whether they bought a $15 something or a $200 30-day program, are likely to buy again, 70% likelier to buy again than someone new. Someone new is only about 5% likely to buy because there's a lot of skepticism. You have to get them closer, right? You need to build a relationship. But with your hot audience, right, your core crew, people who already know you, you already built that relationship. That relationship is already built. So all you have to do is like, hey, do you want to come back? Yes, cool, done. And they repurchase. So is this making sense? Yes or yes? This one took me a long time to understand. So what do you do? Okay, people who buy are likely to buy again. Yes, so what do you need? You need two things to get started, okay? Number one, you need the list, okay? The list. In the Fitness Boss Mentoring Program, we call this the hot list because we want people who are closest to you, right? So you need a contact list with your people. So in this list, you want people who are your current students, okay, write this down. People who are your past students for the last 12 months. So if they came to your class just once and then you never saw them again, they go in the list, okay? They know you, they like you, they trust you. They came to your class, they were new, there was a lot of energy put into that, they go in the list. They came to class, they go in the list. So current students, past students from the last 12 months, and then you want at least 2 forms of contact information. So this can be an email and a cell phone, or their Facebook and their Instagram, or their Facebook and their email, or their Instagram and their phone. 2 items of contact information in that. So once you have a list, and with the Fitness Boss instructors, we go through, that's like step 3. Like we go through this process together, right? Once you have a list, you need to test the list, okay? So we need to test the list to see if this contact is still accurate, right? Does this contact even work? So we need to know if they're responsive. That's why we want at least 2 pieces of contact so that you send an email and then you can track, did they receive the email? You can track that, right? Did they open the email? You can track that. So if they didn't, okay, maybe they didn't see the email, so you want to try a couple more times, or maybe they're not the email sort of person, right? So then you want to try a different contact. So then if you send them a message or a text or a WhatsApp or a message in Messenger and they didn't see it, then that's kind of the point of testing the list, right? Like, okay, so they don't like to be on Messenger, they don't like to answer WhatsApp, they haven't even seen it. So it has nothing to do with your class, your prices, your playlist. It's just they're unaware you're not able to contact them, right? So that's why we need to test the list. So we need a list and then we need to test the list. So testing the list is very easy, okay? And I'm gonna talk about this more in the homework because this is what the homework is going to be, to reach out to your past students, to invite them to your class next week. Do you wanna grow your classes next week? It just takes a couple of messages, that's it, from your phone while you're watching Netflix. Not a big deal, okay? So I'll talk more about that in a second. Okay, so that's gonna be the fastest way to grow your audience, is going to be to reach out to past students and invite them back to class. I'm going to tell you the exact script to use, the exact step-by-step process, so that you can do that today so that they come back to your class next week. Okay, we're aiming at least 3 people to come back to your class next week so that you grow your classes next week. Okay. If you have any questions, by the way, on any of these topics, or you're like, no, put them in the message in the comments and I'll answer you right after this. Okay, so how do you get, so those are your students who are like the more recent ones, right? And how do you get the students who are in your hot list, but you haven't seen them in a while, right? They're MIA, and you're like, and you don't know what happened to them. Have you ever had a student that like comes in, they love the class, they're smiley, sweaty, but then you never see them again, and you're like, what happened? Or they come for a period of time. This is very common during the New Year rush, right? We get lots of people coming in January, February-ish, and then they start to fizzle out. And by March, we're like, oh, I need to grow my classes. Anybody do that? So first of all, there's one reason that growing your classes is never going to be your fault, and that is when it's seasonal, okay? In fitness, there's our seasons where people are more likely to go to your class, and then people are less likely to go to class, and then everything in between. When it's high season and it's more likely for people to go to class, even if you don't do a lot of promoting, people are just in the mood for fitness. And this is typically in New Year's because there's a lot of New Year's resolutions. I want to be healthier. I want to lose weight. I want to get strong. Blah, blah, blah. So you have the whole New Year resolution crowd. So they typically just automatically, it's like, oh, January, I'm going to join the gym. I'm going to try this class. I'm going to try this online thing. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get a coach. I'm going to get a personal trainer, right? And they're in that mood. So growing your classes in January is actually very easy because it's high season, right? Same thing goes for August or September, depending on where you are in the world. But basically when the summer ends and it's like back to school, same thing happens, right? Especially with the mom crowd, their kids are going back to school and they can go back to their gym and their routines and things like that. Low season is going to be right before the high season. And this is why instructors, we have heart attacks all the time. Because it's like, no people, yay, packed classes, no people, packed classes. But right before that, so between Thanksgiving and New Year, it is dead, okay? And it doesn't matter how much promoting you do, how good you get at it, whether you're giving away free stuff, right? It's just not good. People are just not in the mood, okay? They're doing Christmas shopping, they're out of town, they have people in town, life is super busy, it's cold, it's chilly. People just don't do that. So that's the time, same thing for the summer, okay? Doesn't matter unless you're aqua or something outdoorsy, but if your classes are not outdoorsy, it's very likely that your classes are low. Lots of instructors either close their studios or consolidate their classes. So if they're teaching 17 classes on a regular basis, in the summer they just teach 8 because attendance is so low that they can't really sustain the 17 classes. That is normal, okay? That's not you. Again, it's just a season. People are traveling, they're taking their vacation, kids are in the house, moms can't go out to the gym as much. That's not you. That's not you. That's just a situation. Okay, so what happens is that if you have people come in during those high months, and this is why I did this challenge, right, around mid-February, and I didn't do this challenge in January, because in January, we're all like, yay, packed classes. But they're going to start to dwindle very, very soon. So I want you to start doing some of these things like tomorrow, okay? Like today, send these messages today. So what happens is they are very motivated, you know, they show up to class, they show up to your class, and they like it, but then again, life gets busy, they forget, they lose motivation, maybe they didn't see the results that they wanted to as quickly because everybody wants something instant. That's not how the body works, right? And they start to just kind of dwindle. So they need reminders. You need to remind your students. Just the same way that when you get a new student and you go through the whole process and they're like, yes, I want to try your class. Great. You need to remind them to show up to the class. Your current students who already took your class, who love your class, you need to remind them to keep coming back to your class, okay? So you're always reminding them because the world, you're not competing against that instructor. You're not competing against the gym. You're not competing against the ZJ or the pro who's also in your area. That's not your competition, ladies, okay? And gentlemen, that's not your competition. Your competition is life. Your competition is our kids. Your competition is date night. Your competition is laziness. They don't feel like it. Your competition is the weather. It's too cold. I'm not going to go to the gym. Your competition is motivation. I don't feel like going to the workout today. That's your competition, okay? So you need to be able to have systems and ways to reach out to your students outside of class so that you can remind them that it's worth it, right? You can be their cheerleader and you can remind them to keep coming back. They're going to feel healthier, even if they don't do the whole class or even if they kind of half-ass their class. That's okay. Show up. It's their heart needs it. Their lungs need it. You know, it's going to help them lose weight or it's going to help them not gain weight. They're going to get stronger. Like whatever the goal is, right? If they stay consistent, they're going to achieve it. If they fall off, they won't. So they need reminders of that. And that is where you come in. Okay, so new people need reminders to show up to their first class, and current people need reminders to come back. So there's 4 ways that you can do this, or 4 things that you need. Number 1 is you need the list. Have I said the list enough times? Okay, we need a hot list, and you need to work that list. If you're in the Fitness Boss program, say hot list because I drill this into your brain every single week. Okay, if you don't have a list, then your person is lost forever. So if you're not in the habit of creating lists or getting contact information, that's okay. We all start at some point. I was not asking for names or people in my gym classes for the longest of time. And then it was like, oh, I need a list. And then I started, and then I was awful at it. I'm also awful with names. So you don't have to be great at it. You just have to start. Okay. So if you do have a list, yay. If you've never done a list, start putting a list together. Because if somebody comes to your class and they come that one time and you didn't grab any information, you don't have their email or their cell phone or their Facebook or their Insta or their website, you don't have anything, and then they leave, you have no way of reaching them. No way of reaching them. Okay, so we do need a reach. You can revive them. You can reach out to them. We can bring them back from the dead. I'll show you how in a couple of seconds, but you need to know who to revive. Right? Same thing when you're posting. It's like, okay, you want to attract people. Who do you want to attract? Right? So if you want to bring them back, you need to know who, like specifically name and last name, right? And then how are you going to contact them? So make sure that you have a list. If you don't have a list, that you start a list. A couple of things about your list. So we need name and last name, and then we need at least 2 contact information. So maybe a telephone, an email, Facebook, their Facebook or their Instagram handle. No list, no money. No list, no students, no way to bring them back. And this list has to be on a spreadsheet. Okay. And this is where I get a lot of instructors who are like, but I have a chat. Yeah, chat is not a list. A chat is a place where you use a list to put people in the chat, but it's not a list. Okay. So it's not, a list is not a chat. It is not a Facebook group. It is not an email list, and it is not their contacts on your phone. It has to be on a spreadsheet, because you're going to keep track of these names. And you're going to say, I reached out to Cha-Cha Cindy on February 28 and she ghosted me. I reached out again on February 29 and she said hi, or she liked something, or she responded. I reached out again and she told me she broke her leg and that's why she's not coming to class. You need a space to add those titles. And if you have them in your contact or it's in an email list, you don't see that list. Right? You also need to have it on a spreadsheet so that you can see, damn, I only have 10 names. Well, if you have 10 names, are you going to grow your classes to 50? Probably not, because you only have 10 names in your list. So you need to grow the list. If you have a list of 250, you're like, okay, but out of the 250, only 10 of those names are responsive. This happens very often with email, by the way. I get instructors who are like, I have an email list of like 600 people. Awesome. How many responded to your first email? 10. Then 200 people names, but only 10 are responsive. We're really only dealing with those 10, right? So this is why it needs to be a spreadsheet so that you have that boss view, okay? Not like the tiny, but you have that boss view, like, okay, I know how many people I have and I can see whether they're responsive or not. And then I can add information when their birthday is, what's happening. Maybe they moved or they're trying a new job. So they told me they're going to be out for the next 2 months, or they were in a car accident and they're going to therapy. So they're going to be out for the next 3 months, and you can put stuff there and you're like, okay, so this is my list, but these people are out. These people are coming in. I need 5 new people to at least make that quota, right? Or to keep if you need a minimum of 20 people in your classes to make money, then, that allows you to make the boss executive decisions needed to do. So like, okay, I need to promote more. I need to reach out more. I need to reach out to my students. I need to reach out to my past students. I need to create something, not just wait and hope that something will happen, but actually make it happen. Yes. So number 1, you need a list on a spreadsheet. Number 2, once you have them on a spreadsheet, so my social media platform of choice is Facebook. And what happens with Facebook, also with Instagram, is that Facebook will show your stuff to the people who are in your network first, and then to new people. So who are the people who are in your network? On Facebook, that's going to be your people on your friends list. So people on your friends list will have access to Facebook will send your post to them first, and that's like the test run. So your post is going to be tested on your friends list. And if it bombs, it's not going to show it to new people because it didn't pass the test. If your friends start to like and engage and like it, then it passed the test and it's going to show it to more people, right? So who you have in your friends list matters. Instagram is similar with the people that you follow, right? Those who are your followers, Instagram algorithm is going to show your post to them first and test it on them. And if it's successful and passes the test, then it reaches more new people. And if it doesn't, it degrades, it demotes the post. So it's very important that if you're trying to reach your students and you're wanting Facebook to show your promos and the reels that you did, and we're going to talk about, what to post for returning students and your schedules and all of that. You want Facebook to show that content to your student, that you haven't seen in 2 months, then that student needs to be part of your friends list on Facebook. Yes. So once you have a list, make sure that you're either following on Instagram or they're in your friends list on Facebook. This way also is a good, we'll talk about post. Okay, so have a list. Make sure that your people are in your friends list on Facebook or on followers on Instagram. And then you need to post, right? We need to post. It's different types of post. So we're still sticking to the 50-50 rule that we talked about yesterday, right? 50% of your content is going to be fitness post, or for the fitness boss post. And 50% of your content is going to be not about fitness, but just personal stuff. Your kids, your cat, your date night, your girls' night out, that sort of stuff. However, with your fitness post, you have to decide, again, who this post is for. So if your post is to specifically attract new people, you're going to do what we did yesterday, which is reels, tell stories, right? And really talking topic-wise about why they should join the class. Not when, not where, not how much, but why? What are they going to get? Are they going to lose weight? Are they going to burn calories? Are they going to have more energy? Are they going to get stronger? Are they going to prevent any, what's the goal of, why should they even care about your class? And once they care, then they'll ask, right? So you need to, in your 50%, one post needs to be for new people and one post needs to be for retention. This is where you post about schedules. So schedules are good. I do want you to post. I shade on them a lot because schedules are good to be posted. It's just schedules are not good they don't work to bring in new people. Schedules are a retention tool. Only people who know you, like you, and trust you, and have possibly tried your class or are thinking about joining your class care about the schedule. So that's a very small population, okay? Which is fine. I just want you to understand that posting your schedule is not attractive to somebody new, because somebody new doesn't care about your class, right? So they're not there yet. That's like 2-3 steps ahead of them. So for somebody new, we need to go over here and say why they should take cardio. Why is yoga important? Why is Pilates important? How is this going to help them? And once they're like, oh, I need this. Okay, when do you teach? Right? That would be the next step. But schedules are great for returning students. So we want to post returning hot audience reminders of why they should keep going. So remember, your current students, they're getting bombarded with life, which means they're losing motivation and they're losing consistency. So the types of posts that you want to do for them is the schedule, but the schedule is just like a graph, right? So in the description, you want to touch on points of why keep going, right? Or talk about, staying motivated, being a cheerleader for them, or how to show up even if you're not feeling like it that day, right? You want to really be motivating and inspiring, knowing that they're thinking about skipping class, okay? So what do you say to somebody who wants to skip class? That's the type of post that you need to make, right? Now, if you're making 2 posts, one for new people and one for returning students, right? That's 2 fitness posts, then you need to balance that out. So now you need 2 personal posts, right? So that it's balanced and you're not spammy Sally, but you're balanced. So we need that. Your fitness posts are going to remind them about motivation and keep them remind them to keep coming. And then your personal posts are going to remind them that you exist, right? Some of them just kind of forgot, right? And they haven't seen you in 6 months because whatever happened in next week, and then next week turned into next month, and next month turned into 2 months from now. And then they kind of forgot. All they need to do is really see your face, and they already know that you're a fitness instructor. They already know the format that you teach. They already know that they like your class. So they don't need a lot of reminders. They just need a reminder of your existence. And this is why Facebook is so cool, because you can do that by just posting and making sure they're in your friends list and making sure that you interact with them, right? Now you need to make sure who them is by having a list. Otherwise, none of this works. That's why the list, so important. So first, have a list. Second, make sure that that your list, that your people are are friends on Facebook. Man, the no sleeping thing is hitting me. And then you need to post specifically for returning students to keep them motivated. And then you need to single, double. Single, double. So what is a single, double? A single, double is going to their profile, to their Facebook, to their Instagram, and dropping 2 hearts and 1 comment. Single, double, right? And why? What this is going to do is wake them up, okay? When you engage in their content, it wakes up Facebook and says, hey, Facebook, I want to interact with Cha-Cha Cindy. Okay? I want you to show me Cha-Cha Cindy's post, and I want you to show Cindy my post. Facebook, if you haven't been related, if you haven't been using the platform, if you haven't been messaging with each other, then Facebook is a computer, right? So it's going to memorize that, and it's going to assume, okay, these 2 people are not sharing any interest. I'm not going to show them each other's stuff. So that's why you need to go to your student's profile and single, double to wake up Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, yes, I still want them to be connected. And this is how you stay connected with people, even though they're MIA, they're missing in action, because you went to their profile and woke up Facebook for them, okay? What this will also do is it'll wake up the other person, and they're like, oh yeah, Jessica, oh my gosh, I haven't seen her in like forever. What? You know, and because you'll show in their notifications, right? Every time you like and comment, it'll show in their notification. All of a sudden, your name is popping into their notifications, and they're like, oh yeah, you don't need to say, come to my class. Just showing your face, right? Remember yesterday we talked about your face being your logo on Facebook, right? Just showing your face is a reminder for them. That's a reminder enough, okay? So we want to go into their profile and single, double. Also, when you do this, it allows you to see what they're up to. So if you scroll through their content and you see that they haven't posted anything in 3 months, then okay, it's not you. It's not like something happened, and they really, you know, they dropped off the face of the earth. They're not doing social media, which is very weird for people nowadays to not do anything on social media. But it allows you to kind of, okay, you know, you may remove guilt. It's not your music. It's not your class. You didn't say anything wrong. They're just going through their own thing. Or you'll see stuff that happened. You're like, oh, they had a baby, or they're moving. Oh my gosh, she was in an accident. I didn't know, you know, and you'll start to see that something happened, or nothing's happened. It's just regular life, but they're posting regularly, which means you can comment on their stuff and say, oh my God, I love your cat. Oh my God, that's so cute. And just being friendly. Honestly, just be friendly. Just be a nice person online. That's it. That's reminder enough. So to get people to come back, get your missing in action students to come back, make sure you have a list. Make sure that they're your friends on Facebook, and then post specifically for them, and then single, double on their profile, so that you wake them up and you wake Facebook up as well. Now, for the instructors taking the Fitness Boss mentoring program, we actually do more of this, right? Not only are we doing that, but we also grow your audience on purpose on a daily basis. It's not like, oh, I hope I have 1,000 followers. No, we go get them. I teach them how to go get them and grow your audience. We're also learning how to engage, how to create that engagement. Very similar like in class, right? If you want them to shout, it's not just magically going to happen. We have to cue them, and then they shout, and we initiate that engagement. I teach the Fitness Boss instructors how to do the same online. And then after they do all of that, right, at the end, so when you do all of this, right, and it works, this is a system, so it works to sell anything. So if you want to sell a drop-in, or you want to sell a class at a gym, cool, you're going to do all this, and at the end of your Magic Brick Road, you're going to have a student, which means you're making $20 for, or $10 for that drop-in, or you're not making anything because it's the same, in a gym it doesn't matter, but they're not going to cut your class. So you're like, okay, yay, grow classes. When the Fitness Boss ladies do it at the end, right, they learn how to make $500 without even posting. They don't even need to post, right? So that's what they're learning to do. Okay, so now how do you get the new people to come back, right? If yesterday we went through all of that stuff to get new people and they said yes on the message and okay, great, how do we get them to do our class? Right? So you know why packing your class is harder. You know how to stand out. You know the 3 steps, which is to get attention and then turn that attention into interest, and then from interest into students. You know not to skip step. You know that the fastest way to grow your classes is to focus on your hot audience, meaning your current students or your past students, because people who buy from you are 70% more likely to buy from you again. So we want to start with them first because we want fast. You also know that to get started, you need a list, and then you need to test the list to make sure that they're responsive. And we're going to talk more about the homework, about how to do that, so I'll give you the scripts. And you also know how to revive MIA, missing in action students, right? Which is, again, to have a list so that you know who you need to revive. Include them in the friends list, post specifically for returning students, and then single, double to wake them up and to wake Facebook up. We're good so far? So now, how do you get the new person who said yes through all this getting attention and stuff to actually show up? So first of all, you want to make sure that they give out a contact information. So once they are in the PM, so you created content, they have the CTA, they raise their hand, they're interested, you message them, right? And you went through the conversation, and now they're like, yes, I want to enroll to your class, right? Or what is the class, or how do I enroll, all that. You want to make sure 100% of the time that you have their contact information. So first of all, you kind of already have one because you're talking on Messenger. So like, that's one. We need 2, right? So then if you're giving out a free class, never give anything for free, even though it's free. Always get something in return. So when you're giving something for free, the most popular one is they need to give you an email. That's the transaction. I literally did that for this challenge, right? I'm going to give you hours of my time. I just need your email, right? So always get something. Why? Because we want that information to stay in touch. Guess what? I will be sending you information after this challenge. I will be reaching out and saying, what was your favorite part of this challenge? What questions do you have about the challenge? How are you doing? So that we can get to know each other, right? You want to do the same thing with your new person. Okay, so even if you don't have a landing page, you don't need one, okay? The first 2 years that I was growing my classes, it was literally, hey, come to my class. Yeah, I just need your email. And they would give me their email, and that's it. And then I would copy and paste it and put it on my spreadsheet, okay? And that's how I started building my email list. So, and then you get into the habit of always asking your emails, and now you're growing your email list, which means you're growing the list, which means you have more people to talk to, which means you have more people who can return to try your stuff. And that's how you build, and that's how you grow. So make sure that you always get an email. This also goes for events. So if you're at an event and you're going to teach a couple of routines, or you're going to have a booth, and you're like, how do I get them to register for my class? You don't. Because the goal of that event is to get attention. And the goal to get attention, right, all you need to do is get their contact information. All you want them to do is to get interested in what it is that you do, make sure that they kind of like you, vibe with you, and they give you contact information. That's it. Okay? And then once the event ends, you follow back and you do the whole conversation that we talked about yesterday. Okay, so once you have their contact information and they said yes, you need to remind them in between when they said yes and when the first class is, remind them about the class. Okay, you can send reminders by email, you can text them, you can message them, you can tag them in 1 or 2 posts. Don't tag them in 10 posts, but 1 or 2, oh my God, here's my schedule. I'm so excited to see you next week. Woo, right? Or here's a little snippet of class, and then tag them in that post. That's why it's so important to have good content, because that content becomes reminders for your people, right? So your content actually serves multiple purposes. I did this with you for this challenge, right? You said, I reached out in PM, hey, I'm doing this challenge. Do you want to? Yes, you registered, you gave me your email. But in between when you gave me your email and when the challenge started, what did I do? I sent you email reminders. Hey, it's happening soon. It's almost there. It's almost Monday, to make sure that A, you didn't forget, because life gets busy, right? And you remember to show up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So remind them to show up. Once they show up, the goal is not to sell, okay? The goal is to deliver, right? To over-deliver if you can, right? To make them have a good time. My goal right now is for you to learn as much as you can, to say, oh my God, Jessica, stop talking. My brain cannot take this anymore. I thought you were just gonna tell me what to post and it was gonna be so easy. No unicorn post. didn't know this was a whole like thing. My goal is to over deliver on what I said I was going to do, right? I want to make sure that you're taken care of. So when that new person comes in, you want to make sure that they're having a good time, that they're having fun. And where is it? Yeah, show up. Sorry, somebody's at the door. So weird. Okay, so show up. The goal is to have them show up to class, not to pay, right? So you want to make it a process. So make it a process to where first they're spending a little bit of time with you in a post, in a like, and then they're spending more time with you in a 1 hour class, and then they're spending money with you, right? Why? Because you're building a relationship. You're not asking them to marry you in the very first conversation. You're building a relationship. So once they show up, over deliver, and then after class, that's when you follow up, right? And when you follow up, you want to be super friendly, and you want to figure out what their goals are. That's very important, because if you don't know what their goals are, then kind of like, what did you want to lose? They wanted to lose weight, they want to get fit, then the conversation can be a little bit weird, okay? But definitely after that, after they take class, then you want to follow up. Basically, you want to, and this goes for your new people as well as your past students, you want to reach out to your people outside of the workout. But if they only come to you that one time a week, or even if they come multiple times to you, but you're not reaching out outside, like on social media or on text or on WhatsApp, right? The likelihood that life will get in the way, they'll forget, they'll lose motivation is really high because they only have that one place of contact with you. So we want to reach out to our people in message before the class or after the class. This is why social media is so cool, because you don't have to like be messaging in, as long as they're part of your network and like you're tagging them or they're part of, you know that they're watching, right? That does the job for you. So with your new people, if you're teaching at a gym, this is a little bit different than if you're teaching virtual class or you rent space or you have you're on your studio. So if you're teaching at a gym, they finally come to class, yay, your reminders, all of that worked, awesome. You gave them a good class, awesome. Class is done, you send them a message, right? And you're friendly, and you basically just, tell them be a cheerleader, right? How was the class? It was great having you. Do you have any questions, right? Or, oh my God, it was great. You did an awesome job. So tell me, what's your goal? Are you trying to get fit? Are you trying to stay fit? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to get strong? Is there an event that you like working for? Like, what brought you to class, right? Get to know them and just be friendly. Don't ask them to come back again. Just be friendly. That's it. The first message is always friendly. Okay. If you are a contract, right? If you do virtual, you rent space, or you do virtual, or you do rent space, you also want to reach out after. Well, this can be a conversation after class as well. It can be a conversation, or you reach out after class. It can be a text message, or it can be an email. Text messages and Messenger are going to be way faster and way better than email, by far, by a lot, okay? So you want to do this as a conversation or as a text message. You also send a very friendly conversation. Oh my God, it was great seeing you in class. You did such a great job. So just out of curiosity, what brought you to class? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to get fit? Are you trying to get healthy? Give them a couple of options, just because a lot of people are like, my friend brought me, and they haven't really thought about those goals. So this is where you step in and you're like, oh, you wanted to get fit. Awesome. This is a great way, now you can like have a conversation and actually help them achieve their goal. Okay. So we really want to know what their goal is. And once you know what their goal is, they want to get fit, or they want to get strong, or they want to lose weight, or they want to, just get out of the house. A lot of moms is that. I just need to get out of the house. And like, okay, this is a great occasion to do that, right? You're getting out of the house and you're getting healthy. You're doing a great job. Love it. Listen, because you came to this class and you did such a great job, I want to do something special for you. And for your next class, you can have a buy one, get one free. Does that sound good? Everybody loves a good deal, okay? So because the goal of the first class was to just get them in. So it's free, it's easy, you're reminding them, you're over-delivering them, and you're being super friendly. You're not selling, you're just selling your time, right? You need to prove that them spending time with you is worth it for them. Once they do that, you want to reassure that they did a great job, so that maybe they have all the nice fuzzy feelings, and now you want them to pay. But you want them to pay a little bit, because we want to make baby steps. We want to make it easy for them. You want to get an easy yes. So I recommend the BOGO, right? Buy one, get one free. So if your drop-in is 10, spell that out for them. Do the script before, where it's like, is that okay with you if I give you like 50% off? And then they say yes. And then when they say yes, you say, okay, cool. Well, the drop-in is $10 for one class, but if you register right now, you can get 2 classes for the price of one. So then you get the payment right away, right as they're feeling fuzzy and excited and oh my gosh, I love your class. Oh my God, 2 for 1. This is so cool. It's just $10. That makes, each class is going to be 5. Right when they're in this high, that's when you want to ask them if they want to come again at a discount and then ask for their credit card or their register or their thing. Okay. So do that. Now, the third time that they come, you kind of go through the same process, but this time there's no discount. Now you're going to enroll them into like your membership or whatever it is that you have. Now, why are we doing this? Because you want to create consistency. You want them to consume you. You want them to spend more time with you. The more time they spend with you, the more they like you. The more time they spend with you, the likelier they are to not want to change, because it was hard getting out of the house and going into driving to that location or turning on Zoom or making sure that the family let them, for 1 hour so they could do their workout, right? It took time. It was an effort for them to get to that class, and now they did it and they liked it, and you're giving them a discount, so now they're going to come 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row. Now they have a routine with you, okay? So the goal here is to get them to come back for 3 times in a row where it's easy for them because 1 is free and these 2 are on a discount. So then by the 4th time that they come in, they love you, right? They are obsessed with you. You are their thing. You are their Monday morning. You are their Friday night, right? You are the beginning of the week. You are their thing. And now when you start proposing, okay, this is our monthly membership or our punch card or whatever system you have, which by the way, we'll talk about tomorrow, right? They are wanting to say yes because they already fit you in your schedule. So actually looking for a new instructor, looking for a new location, looking for a new way that an instructor moves, that's a change, and the human body, the human brain doesn't like change. So that's why you want to keep them coming back and create that routine as much as possible so that they stick around. Yes or yes? Now in the Fitness Boss program, we go through a very similar process, but at the end of it, instead of doing a buy one, get one free for like a $10 drop-in or a $20 drop-in, right? They're making anywhere from $97 to $500 per client, okay? Per client. So after all the whole getting new people in and messaging people and delivering value, right? They also go through this is the free stuff and then here's the paid stuff. But at the end of it, they make $97 to $500. So that's the skill that you want to do in that program. It is time to post at the stage, homework time. So there's a there's a $50 gift card and a $25 gift card for the 2 instructors who engage the most, and a 50% scholarship for the Fitness Boss program. So what we're going to do is reach out to past students, right? The fastest way to pack your classes is to re-invite past students because people who buy are 70% more likely to buy again. So we're going to reach out to them first because they are the highest likelihood to buy and the ones that need the least amount of interaction to buy. Plus, it's a lot more direct, right? With students, you don't have to go around the bush as much with somebody new because they already took your class. You're like, hey, I'm teaching again on Tuesday. You want to come? It can be very, very direct, which means it's less work and you only need 3 touches, sometimes less. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to create a list. I talked about the list a million times. So create a list of 10. Let's just start with 10. The fitness bosses that I train, we start with 50, okay? Because they're not joking. They have big dreams and big goals. So we go big and we go bold. So I start them off with 50. But with you, we can start with 10 names. So these are going to be 10 names from past students. So not students that went to your class this week, but students that maybe missed last week, anywhere between the last 3 months. Okay, so we want the most recent missed students. So a list of 10 names of students who have missed class in the last 3 months. And then you're going to send 2 messages. Okay, message number 1, write this down. Remember, you have the replay so you can always come back. And you're going to say, hi, name. It's been a minute. How are you? That's it. First message is always friendly. So a couple of things about that first message. We want to make sure that you have their name, because we want to create that personal connection. You want to keep it very simple. You want to keep it very short. You want to keep it very casual. And there's absolutely zero selling. There's no link. There's no price. There's no schedule. There's no come to my class. There's no, I'm a Zumba instructor from, there's no introduction. Like, it's just super simple. Hi, Cha-Cha Cindy. It's been a minute. How are you? Because what we're doing with that message is we're testing the list, right? And we're just wanting to see if they are responsive. If they're not responsive, then that allows you to switch to the other contact thing, right? So if you send a message and they didn't get a response, then now send an email and see if you get a better response with email, right? So we're testing the list. So we need something very, very normal and human. Also, this is how you talk in real life, right? When you meet somebody, you're like, oh my God, hey, it's been forever. How you been? So we're just going to be normal and human online too, okay? We're not going to go like, here's my thing, purchase this, link here. Like, no, just be normal, be human. So that's going to be message number 1. Now, out of the 10 messages that you send, not everyone will respond. About 50% of your people will respond, and that would be normal, okay? So if less than 50% responds, we need to figure out what's going on with your list. But you're going to send out 10 names, 5 of them are going to respond. They're going to say, oh, not much, or just drop a heart, or they're going to like something. It doesn't really matter how they respond. We're just testing to see if they will respond. Then once they respond, you send message number 2. And this one's the important message, because this one's the question. And you're going to say, just wanted to let you know that I'm teaching your format the next time and day, and I'm missing your face. You want to come? So for me, it would be like, hey, Cha-Cha Cindy, it's been a minute. Just wanted to let you know that I'm teaching Zumba on, what day is today? I'm teaching Zumba on Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. at LA Fitness. I miss seeing your face. Do you want to come? That's it. Okay, so a couple of things about that message is that, again, no prices, no links, no videos, no flyers, no posts, right? Very simple, very short, very casual, very direct. And you're only saying your next class. So you're not giving them a full schedule, because that is overwhelming. You want to make it easy for them. So for me, for example, when my next class is on Thursday, I just want them to decide whether they're open on Thursday or not, right? Oh, I can't. I work on Thursday mornings. I want a yes or no answer, right? And if I give them all of my schedule, now they have to think about Tuesdays, but then on Wednesdays, you'll have to say, right? And it's hard for them, so then you won't get an answer. So keep it simple. Just give them your next class and date, right? And that's it. And then they're going to say, oh, no, I'm busy. Oh, okay. Well, I teach several classes. Like, what day of the week works better for you? And then see if you have something that, that works for them. And now you're just talking about logistics, right? And they say yes. And then you send them reminders in between when they said yes and when the classes that they committed to coming will actually happen. It's up to you if you wanted to make it a free class or you want to give them a discount, because the point is to get them back in the door. Yes. So that's what you're going to do behind the scenes. At the stage, you're going to post. And you're going to post a GIF of my favorite superhero, which is Wonder Woman. So post a GIF of Wonder Woman, and then in the description say, hot list activated. Make sure you tag me in the post, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments of that post. Tomorrow, very important, tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow we're going to talk not about making extra cash, but about making real money. This is boss type money. So if you want to double your income without doubling your classes, and without growing your classes, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you how to make your first $1,000 online without teaching more classes and without posting. So if this was very overwhelming, right, how can you make money online without any of that? And then I'm also going to teach you how to keep making money every single month so that you make your first 10K online and become the money-making fitness boss that you were meant to be. Okay, everyone, I'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central.